Each day, millions of Americans go to work, while many others continue to look for work. Economists track this activity as the labor force participation rate, and the health of the economy depends on it.
If you think about economic growth, which we're used to, we're accustomed to in this country, economic growth is really two factors, fundamental factors. Either more output per worker, i.e. productivity, or more workers. Those two things combined give us the growth that we come to expect. So if we don't have enough people with the right skills entering the labor force, then we don't get the growth we want.
The labor force participation rate is the percentage of adults 16 and up that either have a job or are looking for one. The rate peaked at 67.3% in 2000, but since then it has been on a steady decline. Demographic change is a key driver of this shift, and the pandemic played a role as well.
If you look at the data, it's fairly obvious that baby boomers have been retiring at a large number. They have been exiting the labor force, and therefore the labor force participation rate has been going down. Another thing I would add is that during the pandemic, that trend has accelerated because those of the baby boomers who maybe have planned to work a few more years may have decided to retire earlier.
Economic data gives us important information, but they can't tell us everything or answer why some working age people are choosing to stay on the sidelines.
One of the things we learned is that people were often not going back to work because they were not finding job opportunities that really were working for what they needed.
Ashley Putnam, director of the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia's Economic Growth and Mobility Project, has tracked such information through studies. One of these was the Worker Voices Project, which was a national effort to hear firsthand from workers without a 4-year degree navigating the labor market.
We really found that talking to workers directly helps us to better understand what is actually happening in the economy and how workers are experiencing the job market, opportunities, and making decisions about their lives. So many people we spoke to in the Worker Voices Project had been applying for jobs and were feeling discouraged because they were not being offered job opportunities. And so were not returning to the labor market just because they were discouraged in the long term.
There's no perfect data set. All have their pluses and minuses, so we need to combine all those together to get a full picture of what's happening in the economy. Congress gave us a dual mandate, stable prices and maximum employment. That's why we care about the employment market.